You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. Welcome to Liberty Explained. My name is Chris Spangle. Thank you so much for joining me here on the show. Liberty Explained is our show where we explain the basics of politics and libertarianism and how we apply it. And we are taking your questions at ask@wearelibertarians.com. And be sure to go to libertyexplained.com to find all kinds of different resources, book recommendations, videos, and really get the full range of thought on libertarianism. So today's question: is the non-aggression principle the only requirement members of the Libertarian Party must agree to? Is that a good standard? Now, let me explain what the non-aggression principle is. It is the foundational principle of libertarianism that we don't believe in using force or coercion to achieve social or political goals. And while there are many other parts of libertarianism writ large and so many different ideologies within the movement, libertarians embrace this single uniting principle as what kind of keeps us together and uniquely separates us from other movements or parties. Now, is it a perfect standard? Probably not. But if we agree not to use force on one another, any other differences can be minor. Now, do Democrats and Republicans have a general requirement for membership? No. The spectrum on the Democratic side can range from the conservative members who support private industry like Joe Manchin to authoritarian communists. Or on the Republican spectrum, it goes from free market liberals to common good conservatives who are nationalists that believe in large welfare and want forced social safety nets. The Libertarian Pledge is a good guide for kind of keeping focused in a movement that is prone to many different diversions and distractions. Now, the Libertarian Pledge is a statement based on the non-aggression principle that individuals must sign to join the Libertarian Party of the United States. It declares, "I hereby certify that I do not believe in or advocate the initiation of force as a means of achieving political or social goals." So why was this put in place? Libertarian founder David Nolan created the pledge in 1971, right at the beginning of the party. And his goal was to convince the government authorities that the Libertarian Party was inherently not a violent organization during a time when many political groups were using terrorist tactics. There were 10,000 bombings under Nixon, and you had the Weather Underground. And so many Libertarian Party people had kind of a radical stance, and they wanted to make sure that, let's be honest, the FBI and other people infiltrating groups knew that they were not an organization bent on the destruction of the United States. A reference, actually, and this comes from Wikipedia, a reference to the pledge was made on April 17th, 2001, when in response to Timothy McVeigh's description of himself as a libertarian, the Libertarian Party National Director Steve Dasbach said the following: "Timothy McVeigh is not just a mass murderer, he's a very confused mass murderer. Besides having no appreciation for the value of human life, McVeigh apparently has no understanding of the meaning of the word libertarian. Just to set the record straight, real libertarians wholeheartedly reject the use of force to achieve political or social goals. Real libertarians see violence and try to prevent it, see problems and organize cooperative solutions, and see government abusing its power and work peacefully through the political system to protect our rights." The long and the short of it, I'm a libertarian because I believe in nonviolence. I don't believe in organizing a group of other people to use violence to force other people to believe what I believe. And I think you can, let's take an issue like immigration, where it's very easy for many libertarians to say, I'm a closed border libertarian. Now, that is a fundamentally violative stance against the non-aggression principle, because to enforce a border, you restrict the freedom of movement. You have to use armed guards to protect your border and to keep people flowing in and out and regulating that. So that is an instance where some libertarians break the Libertarian Pledge and bend the idea of the non-aggression principle for personal reasons. The non-aggression principle, as a result, is always kind of up for debate, right? We live in a very relativistic society, and people don't tend to like maxims that just have a all or nothing stance in them. But that's part of the point of being in a movement, is debating these kind of issues. And how does this maxim apply? Does it always apply? It's a rule. So you don't have to, you have to sign the Libertarian Pledge to join the Libertarian Party, but that's a voluntary action. You can be a libertarian that doesn't believe in the non-aggression principle, and kind of be 90% there with libertarians on issues, right? So that kind of idea of who is a real libertarian or who is not is always sort of the dangerous problem. The better issue is really to take something like the non-aggression principle and think it through from a moral perspective, a values perspective, and a legal perspective. I hope that answers your question. If you have questions, please write in at ask@wearelibertarians.com. And if you enjoyed the conversation, then please share this with your friends. And we'll talk to you again soon here on Liberty Explained.